Hey guys, just before the episode starts, I'd just like to say both Andrew and I were off for points during this week, and since Brian isn't in this episode, we thought it would be best just to have like a fun sort of like chat, mainly focusing around the Pokemon anniversary and just like the news sphere in general, and then we sort of did a wee topic based on an article that came out on Monday. Anyway, we hope you enjoy it, and now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Scottish Games Network podcast. As always, we're your hosts. I'm Ryan.
And I'm not Brian, I'm Andrew.
Yes, Brian's not joining us this week because he's on a mysterious mission. That's all we're saying, because it's nothing exciting, but you know, we might as well hype it up, you know?
I mean, as far as he's telling us, it could be anything. I mean,
That's
who are we to know? Yeah.
Going into space, fighting aliens.
Who's to believe it's mysterious?
Yeah, we've got a bit of a different episode. I feel like every episode I say we've got a different episode because we keep reinventing the wheel. But yeah, this week we're doing something a wee bit different because it's only the two of us. We're just going to have a wee chat inspired by one of our stories this week. And yeah, we'll just see where it goes. But first of all, Andrew, what have you been playing this week?
What have I been playing? So I finished the Bowser's Fury, that mode from that Super Mario re-release. I finished that up. I'd kind of been hearing the kind of chat around it on the internet was like, it's this very kind of like innovative, novel mode, but the way that people talked about it was kind of as if it was this kind of like tech demo and not like a fully realized thing. And when I started it, I didn't really have that impression at all. I was like, this is so cool. Like, I could totally, like, this seems like a fully fledged Mario experience to me. And now I finished it, I know exactly what they mean. Very, very cool, ambitious thing that will be revealed later. It doesn't, I don't know if you have much experience with 3D Mario games, but they tend to, they tend to be really well paced, and the levels tend to grow in complexity, and they usually funnel you towards this big kind of cinematic climax, like Super Mario Odyssey, for instance, spoilers, has a big like showdown on the moon at the end, and like obviously that's like a huge kind of grandiose way to end a game. Whereas this one with the kind of open world scenario, because it doesn't have set levels like that, it doesn't really have this kind of climactic moment. It just kind of ends once you do enough of a particular thing. And also I found it was a little bit sudden. So basically what I'm saying is I agree with what everyone on the internet has already said about this Bowser's Fury game, which seems really cool. Would love to see more of it. So it's very much a taster type thing.
Yeah, so it left you wanting more.
Essentially, yeah, exactly.
Fair.
But a good place to end up with something.
Does it look like they're doing more with that sort of mode? Because I haven't really been keeping up with Nintendo other than the Pokemon news, because I'm a massive Pokemon fan.
Yeah, well, Pokemon is yet another Nintendo franchise, which is just Breath of the Wild now. It seems like they've just kind of locked onto this design philosophy and applying it across all of their mainline games, which is why in the other week they had this kind of like big cinematic opening for Splatoon 3 that looked like it was sort of like an open world game as well, and I'm like, what, Splatoon's Breath of I don't think so. Yeah, I would. What was the question again? Would I like to see? Yeah,
would you like to see more? And like, is there news that something like Bowser's Fury is coming out later down the line?
No, not at the moment. I think it's probably really unlikely we see another big Mario project, at least on this Switch, until they do a upgrade. Between Odyssey and this thing, I'd say it's unlikely. But I would imagine that the next thing they will do will be more in this kind of open world direction, because everything Nintendo seems to be, that's the way that it's going, right? Like, so you saw that Pokemon trailer, right? You probably know more about Pokemon, so it's somehow related to Diamond and Pearl Blast or something.
Yeah, so it's called Pokemon. Oh, jeez, the name's just lost me. I'm gonna go and Google it.
It's a weird name, right?
Yeah, I'm going to Google it.
You.
I know Arceus is in there, who's kind of... My Pokemon... I love the games, but I do not pay attention to the lore. I love it for sheer nostalgia. But let's see, I can't... right, I'm just going to have to Google the... Oh, wait, no. Right, so it's Pokemon Legends Arceus is the name of it. So... Like, it seems to be set, like, way before Diamond and Pearl, but still in the Sinnoh region. So it's still in that sort of, still in that location where you, like, had, like, Piplup and Chimchar and Bidoof and Turtwig. Why did I name Bidoof before the other starter? I was like, let's name 2 starters, then the meme, then the 3rd starter. And Turtwig was my starter as well. I was saving the best till last. That's what I was doing.
That's what it is. I think so.
But yeah, like, so it seems to be Breath of the Wild meets Pokemon, which I'm all for, if I'm honest, because I always feel like with the last game, especially with Sword and Shield, I felt like it captured what I wanted Pokemon to be as a kid. And like when I was playing Pokemon and everything was sort of sprites and, you know, very pixelated, in my head it was obviously more than that, and you were going on a grand adventure, but really the Pokemon games are quite linear in the sense that, you know, like, even though it is technically open and you can go anywhere, as soon as you get, like, you're sort of just traveling from one town to the next town over by going through one route, or maybe like a route and then a cave or whatever, and then you get to the next town, you fight the gym leader, and then you keep going. And I felt like the introduction of, like, the wild area in Sword and Shield kind of made that feel a wee bit more grandiose and a bit more, like, impactful, and made it feel like you were actually going on an adventure. Like, just that large sprawling field where there was just wild Pokemon everywhere, which is really cool to me. And I feel like other people thought the same, and so they've looked at Breath of the Wild and went, that did really well, and that was kind of like a go anywhere you like at any point type thing. And, you know, the wild area in Sword and Shield did really well, so why don't we just mash the 2 together? And I think that's what's happening, but there isn't too much to go off of right now.
No. I think that it's Sword and Shield almost occupies a similar space to the Bowser's Fury that we were just talking about, in that, like, it really seemed like a first step in a particular direction, right, rather than like a fully finished thing. And with this one so far, where do you fall on the big... I know there was like a big kind of uproar about the art or the graphics or something. Did you catch any of this stuff?
Right, yeah, I think this is more to do with their... Confusingly, while they're making like a Diamond and Pearl prequel sort of thing, they've also released a Diamond and Pearl remake. And I think people are criticizing Nintendo because they're essentially just like... The Pokemon team is just like copying the Zelda team's homework, because the Diamond and Pearl remakes look an awful lot like the Link's Awakening remake.
Sure.
In terms of art style.
I mean, Link's Awakening remake looks incredible, so I don't see why that should be a problem.
I'm the same. I thought the exact same. I was like, when people are complaining about both of them, and I'm like, like, Link's Awakening looks great, and I think it's hard to say, like, because it only came out a wee while ago, but like, I think it's gonna, like, it's got a timeless art style in the same way that Wind Waker still holds up today. You can go, not even play the HD remaster on, I think it was Wii U, but even if you go back to the GameCube, it still looks good today because they didn't go for realism, they went for stylized, and I think that just holds up forever. So I don't see why people are complaining about the Diamond and Pearl stuff, and I also don't understand why people are complaining about the Arceus game, just because, like, we haven't seen enough about it.
I think the little bit that I caught of the Arceus criticism was like primarily like about like dodgy frame rate and stuff, but like, I don't know, it's like a trailer. Like, it's like a game that's like clearly not very far along. Like, I mean, hold your breath.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't know, it's strange how I get in the last, between this and Sword and Shield, it's like really opened my eyes to like. I mean, I have not that I followed Pokemon very closely, but like, there seems to be like a big toxic contingent of the community, which like seems like totally in the face of such a wholesome property, right?
Yeah,
Like, there's I don't know.
yeah, it kind of bugs
I mean, I guess
me.
there's toxic contingents to every community.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it does kind of bug me because I play Pokemon, like, it's arguably my favorite franchise. I do love them, and I play all of them as soon as I can. But, like, I play them for, like, nostalgia, and because I just enjoy that sort of gameplay and all that, and it's just fun, and it feels like you're sort of, it almost feels like coming home after like being away for a while. You know, like you sink into it and you should relax and all that. But there's some people who, yeah, I think they take it a wee bit too seriously. And I'm like, you've got to remember that, like, a cute wee yellow mouse with red cheeks is the mascot. You know, we're not trying to rewrite Citizen Kane here. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, I also think you can take things seriously in like a positive way or like
Yeah.
a generous way, right? Instead of like your first reaction to every situation being, "Oh, lazy devs," right?
yeah,
There's, you know, like there's reasons for everything, and I don't know. It's really presumptuous to assume that the problem with presumptuous is not the right word, but like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of this conversation and the conversation about the last Pokemon is sort of like, you know, like people are personally, you know, obviously not as in like on a name by name basis, but like they're blaming the developers for, you know, some sort of perceived lack of skill or effort or something like that. And you're like, making games is so much more complicated than that. It's not one person's like work ethic.
yeah.
And I mean, they work for Game Freak. Like to even be in that position, you've got to be serious about what you're doing, right?
Oh, 100%, yeah. You know, after all, yeah, Pokemon is I think it's the biggest video game franchise, like, in terms of, like, revenue earned ever. Or it's yeah, it's either that or it's like definitely up there.
I can believe it. I heard recently that it's the most grossing franchise, right? Like entertainment
Yeah.
property.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I think
This might be bullshit. I need to look that up.
yeah, I think, like, we'll fact check in the show notes, but I'm fairly certain that if you take into account the cards, the movies, the anime, and the games, it is, like, in terms of, like, entertainment properties, it's the most, like, sort of profitable, or definitely that, like, the highest grossing.
Yeah, according to this hastily googled list. Oh, actually, let's take a guess. Actually, so I mean, obviously, this is one list and may not be the accurate, but the one that comes up top of Google. So Pokemon is at the top of the highest grossing media franchises. Can you guess any of the other top 5?
Oh, I'd imagine Mario's probably there as well, but then I might be wrong with that.
So there aren't actually any other game franchises in there. So
Okay.
the others are all. None of them are game franchises.
I reckon it'll be... Now, will they class Disney as just Disney? Or
Yeah,
will...
Disney makes there's a big Disney presence.
Yes.
So think Disney things.
Yeah, so I was thinking Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, maybe?
Right. So Star Wars is definitely in there. So Star
Yeah.
Wars is the number 5 apparently. But so it's kind of breaking it down into franchises, which I guess is like a you know, this is very much like a what's the criteria type thing. But I'll tell you, the Pokemon apparently the highest grossing media franchise. Number 2, Hello Kitty, apparently. So I
Do
guess
you
that's like it's a massive merchandising thing.
Do you know, I believe that. I don't know if you've ever seen on Netflix the series The Toys That Made Us.
Right. No, I've not seen it, but I know of it.
Yeah, they have a Hello Kitty episode. I can't remember if it's in season 1 or 2. But they went into, like, the idea that there's some people that own just, like, everything Hello Kitty branded. Like, I just feel like they just slap their name on a lot of stuff. So yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, like you see like pictures of like Hello Kitty like hotels and things like this, like nuts. So the other 2 are Winnie the Pooh coming in at number 3,
Wow.
which is also bizarre. But I guess if you think of like, you know, like clothes even for like
Yeah.
babies and stuff like that, like it's just everywhere, and that's above Mickey Mouse in number 4.
Wow.
So Mickey Mouse getting beat out by Pikachu. Take that.
Yeah, here we go. Mouse to mouse.
Yeah.
The battle of the mice.
Again, I can't confirm the absolute legitimacy of this list, but this is the one according to Wikipedia. So there you go.
Oh well, the most valid of sources. As soon as Brian leaves, we just run rampant, and we're like, we're not going to speak about Scottish games. We're going to speak about Pokemon and use Wikipedia to fact check. I promise you, if you read
the content you want.
I promise you, if you read ScottishGames.net, we do a bit more research into our articles than just a quick Wikipedia search.
Ryan and Brian can certainly promise that. I can't.
Just Wikipedia, that's it. That'll do. Just one search, whatever's the top of Google, that'll do. I was writing a list feature the other day, and I ended up having to call a dev to find out where they're located, because on one website it said one place, and on another website it said another, and I found on the website that was wrong for their location a contact phone number for them, and I was like, I'm just gonna phone and see what happens, because it's quicker than an email.
Man,
we go above and beyond.
That's the real journalism stuff. That's the real journalism stuff, man. I'd be way too feared to do that. Like, who are you?
I got off the phone and I did say, like, I felt like a proper journalist, because I phoned up and the first thing I said was, "Hi, this is Ryan from Scottish Games Network. I was just wanting to confirm your location because we're doing this list." And I was like, I felt right professional there. That was brilliant. Whereas normally I'm fannying about with editing software and just having a bit of a laugh.
You should have asked them if they know anything about Frog Fractions 4.
What?
Oh, okay. A story for another time. Frog Fractions is kind of long running, like a weird indie mystery game that seems to pop up in other people's games from time to time. They run sort of ARGs and things like that. So it's the kind of thing that you never know who might know about the whereabouts of
I'll keep
the next
that in
entry in
mind.
the Frog Fractions franchise.
I always mix up what I say at the end of an email, like yours sincerely or looking forward to getting back to you. I'll change it to, do you know anything about Frog Fractions 4 ? Ryan, and that's just going to be how I sign off every email now. Yeah, we're just changing everything about this show this week. It feels like it's pure chaos. Absolutely. But let's go on to our main topic, because we've discussed Pokemon, and that's all the news in Scotland. So now, I swear to God, like, people are gonna we're gonna get such bad reviews for this episode. People are gonna be like, Brian is the linchpin that holds this whole thing together, and you're right, he definitely is. He's the
At
one
least
that
we'll
reins
deserve
in.
it.
Yeah, exactly. We're working for those bad reviews. So anyway, yes, the website this week. On Monday, we published, our wonderful editor, Brian Baglow, published an article entitled, let's get the full name up, shall we? Cairngorms recreated in Minecraft. I thought there was a longer title than that. I could have probably just guessed. Someone's taken the time to make the entire Cairngorms National Park in Minecraft, pretty much as like an education tool to raise awareness for environmental issues and just to get sort of younger people into geography. And that got us thinking, what was our most ambitious undertaking within video games? Andrew, can you kick us off?
Yeah. I mean, when you mentioned this topic, I was trying to think of. I am not a particularly ambitious gamer, I have to say. Certainly with Minecraft, my ambitions amounted to dig a hole in the ground and survive. Maybe I never really built anything too enormous. I don't know. Something I did recently, which purely out of lockdown, was I actually finished a very long JRPG, which is something that I have never really done. Like, I've played a few of them, and this idea of sitting down to like a 60-hour experience and trying to get your way through it, especially with all the kind of grinding, and there's a great deal of repetition involved, but it was totally worth it. The game I played was this RPG from like 10 years ago called Lost Odyssey, which I had started many times over the years, and basically, if I wasn't going to finish it now in this current situation, when was I ever going to finish it? and I hugely recommend it. So there's ambition for you. Finishing games. That's as ambitious as it gets with me. How about you?
Well, I've written down a couple. So my first one, which, right, to some people, yeah, these will not be ambitious at all. These are just playing a video game. But for me,
I mean, I've set the bar here.
for me, like one that really jumped to mind was, I don't know if you ever played Payday 2.
Very briefly, it was like free to play for a while or something, right?
Potentially, I'm honestly not too sure. I've been out of the loop for a good wee while.
It's a clown mask heisty one.
Yes, so essentially, it's like if you could if you were playing Left 4 Dead, instead of shooting zombies, you're robbing banks. That's kind of the idea. It's online co-op, first-person shooter, and you can kind of take whatever approach you like. So if you want to go, all guns blazing, like, shotguns and machine guns, then you can do that. Or you can opt to, sort of wear less body armor, so you can walk past guards and they're not going to get suspicious, and sort of like only carry sort of weapons that you can conceal and then like sneak about. And I can't remember why. I think there was an event coming up or something, and me and my mates were like, oh, we need more money in game to sort of compete in this event or to like take part in this thing or whatever it was. Or it might have just been that one of us was wanting to unlock a weapon and you needed in-game currency for it, so we were like, oh, we'll take on a really sort of big job. And there was this one heist that was in like an arena, like while some sort of international pop star is doing a gig. So it's like full of people. And
cool.
The idea is you're meant to like sneak in like backstage and like take all the money from the venue. And
that's so cool. It's like a Hitman level.
It's funny you mentioned Hitman because Hitman 3 just came out and I literally just got my copy. It arrived earlier today. I've decided to play through Hitman Blood Money, then Absolution, then the latest IO 1, 2, and then play 3. So I'm like really building up to it.
Now that's real ambition.
That is ambition.
That's ambition.
Yeah, I love the franchise. It's I mentioned how Pokemon's one of my favorite franchises. I think Hitman is also up there. I love a good stealth game, and the idea of like the social stealth in those games is just really cool, and I love it. The way that you don't necessarily have to stick to the shadows, you just need to walk past people confidently and act like you own the place, and it's fine. But yeah, anyway.
What's the name of the like? There's like a name for like the hard mode basically in Hitman, right?
Oh,
like a specific. I can't remember.
Oh, I've lost it because, as I said at the start of the segment, I am not the most ambitious. I tend to play things on normal or
I mean, that needs to be your ambition though, is to play it on that like whatever it is, like the equivalent of the like instant. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, like a hardcore mode.
Permadeath. It's like the equivalent of permadeath. Yeah.
Yeah, play permadeath, silent assassin only. I'm not allowed to be spotted.
That's it, silent assassin. That's it.
That's it. So silent assassin's a rank. So at the end of each Hitman level, you get a rank for like how well you did. And silent assassin is like you only killed your target. Like no one else got hurt. No one else spotted you. Like there was no they didn't find the body. Like there's just you completely cover your trail. So it's almost like you weren't there, and that's kind of the ultimate goal, is to get that in every level. But yeah, so back to Payday.
In every game.
Yeah, from Blood, like, let's go back to like Hitman Contracts and Codename 47 and just like go from the start and just every level silent assassin. Now
just play Kane and Lynch 2 as well.
Yeah, just for the hell of it. But yeah, back to Payday. Me and my mates decided we're going to do that level, and we'll do it on the hardest difficulty. It's funny that we mentioned difficulty levels, because that obviously gives the highest payout. And we were like, me and my mate Dylan were not equipped to do like an all guns blazing on the highest difficulty level, because in Payday there's like a skill tree. And I think we both went for like slightly sort of nippier characters that were better with like light armor and could like reload faster and run around and stuff. Because there's some points in a mission where you'd be like at the bank vault, and then it's like, oh, now you need to like run over to like the computer terminal, which is the other side of the bank. So it's like, it's sometimes pays to be a bit quicker. Especially if you've got like a squad, because normally one of your mates is always the person who really likes having big heavy weapons and armor and stuff, so you might as well let them do that.
One.
Yeah. So me and my mate Dylan were not built for that. My mate Jack kinda was, but we wouldn't be able to do, like, just with 3 of us do that, or we didn't think we would anyway. And I think you also got a cash bonus for not being spotted. So we properly let Ocean's 11 this. We like planned it out. So when you decide to take on a mission in Payday 2, it gives you like a floor plan, like a blueprint for the building. And normally that's just like you hit like, you know, start game, and then while it's loading up the level, you'll go into it and like draw on it and have a bit of a laugh or whatever. But we actually, before readying up, actually opened this up and was like, right, so we'll come in from here and we need to like hit this, and we're gonna like take this route, and we planned everything and like drew on like, you know, like we need to like meet up at this point and we'll split up here to do this. And we came up with a plan and we're like, right, we've got it. And like there was a few hiccups along the way. Like I remember at one point I was separated from the other 2 for an extended period of time because I think we were meant to like dart across this corridor. So there was like a room either side of the corridor, and we were just meant to open the door, run across, open the other door, get into this other room. And the other 2 did it, and then just as I was away to go out last, I think I heard a guard coming around the corner, and I think he was heading into the room I was in. So I was like, so I'm going to have to go out the way I came in. And then I had to like properly go like all the way around the map to get back to them. So like, you know, but we stayed stealthy and all that. And then the exit to that map is in the sort of multi-story car park. And what you do is once you've got the money, because it's obvious, like because, you know, if you're carrying duffel bags full of cash, it's going to slow you down. So you can put the bags of money in a sort of rubbish chute, and because the bins are in the multi-story car park, so they're right next to your getaway vehicle. So we're like, right, okay, throw all the money down there, and we were about halfway to the parking lot, and then one of us got caught. Let's say for comedic value, it was me. I don't know, someone left a banana peel, I slipped, and it was all Mario Kart-esque. And then we ended up going into this like massive shootout, like trying to get out of there. And I mean, essentially, we didn't achieve the goal, but it was a great time, you know?
Yeah.
So that was sort of
ambition got the better of you.
That was it. We still got a decent amount of cash, but the like sort of completely silent bonus would have helped us. But oh well, like I don't play Payday anymore, so it doesn't matter.
I said I never played it again.
Yeah, that was it. I actually uninstalled it as soon as the guard spotted me, like the ultimate rage quit, you know.
Rage quit forever.
I got a screwdriver,
I
took the hard drive out the PC, flung it out the window.
It's a tightrope. It's that ambition, you know.
It really is.
You get too passionately involved in something. So what were your other? You said you had 3 ambition stories. What were the other
yes. Well, my second one was you can go and find it on YouTube if you really want. I decided during lockdown, I decided to give myself something to do, because I think everyone got into a point where you didn't know what day of the week it was. You know, because every day was the exact same. Like so, to break up my week, what I decided to do was like give myself a Monday to Friday. So every night for like an hour and a half, I would just stream on YouTube.
Yeah,
that's what I did, and I can't remember what I'd just finished playing. I think I'd played Until Dawn, because like I invited my mates to sort of watch the stream, so it meant that we could all kind of play together, because you know, like they would be like, oh, you should say this, or you should do this, or whatever, and that's what. So like that was a really great sort of game to stream. But then I didn't know what I was going to do in between, like, you know, as my next series. So to kill time for a night, I booted up The Crew, Ubisoft's open world driving game, where like the whole of America is the map. And I decided I was going to try and drive from New York to LA without a like sat nav or map or anything. I was just going to like try and do it.
Just road signs.
Yeah, well that was the plan. It was to use road signs. But I was like, I decided, I looked up that like if you had a map, you could do it in like, I think it was 35 to 45 minutes, you know, like properly gunning it. because obviously the map isn't massive, it's not actually the size of the US. So I was like, okay, I think what I'll do is I'll set myself an hour, and I've got to do it without a map. And then I was like, it's 50 minutes leeway, so like if I get like stuck in any of the cities, or if I find myself like going going in the wrong direction, I can always adjust. And my plan was, I planned out my route. I was like, you know what, just to make sure that I definitely do it, I'm not just going to go as the crow flies, because I feel like that's dangerous. You might end up, like going in the wrong direction and not noticing it. I was going to use the map's boundaries. Mm-hmm. So I was going to go, like, because New York's obviously, like, in the northeast. I was like, if I just travel along, like, the northern border and then come down the west coast, I'll end up in LA.
Right.
That was the plan.
Uh-huh.
When we hit the half-hour mark, I was still in New York, because that city is a maze. Well, that's not necessarily true.
Jeez.
I got out of New York, I used the highway system and all that, and I got out of New York eventually, because, like, the highways out of New York was, like, they were all, like, if you followed one lane, because I was like, if I just stay on the lane that's going for it, like, going away, I'll end up out the city. But no, it just loops back on itself and then connects up to the lane heading back into New York. And I was like, there must be a turn-off I missed. So I tried that and I couldn't find it. So I was like, okay, this is just like a nonsense road. We're just going to try something else. Eventually we got out of New York. And I was like, we've wasted way too much time. And there was a railway track next to me when I got out of New York. And I was like, right, here's a plan. Roads have, like, lots of different exits and entrances and yada yada, which is gonna cause me to get lost. So I had this ingenious idea to drive along the railway tracks, and then I could just sort of move out the way if a train came. That was the plan, because they can only go in one direction, so that was the idea. I should also mention, I didn't have a compass, like, how your map, like your sort of like map at the top of the screen will normally have a wee compass. Didn't have that, because I thought that was also cheating, because I would have just followed that and been like, okay, well, just stay north, then go south. So instead, I decided I would sort of just turn off all the UI, and I was driving along this railway line, and it's getting to about the 30-minute mark, and I'm like, right, guys, let's face it, we're not going to do this, but the challenge is now just see how far away from New York we can get in the remaining time. And I drive along this road, I drive along the railway, which was heading in the opposite direction to where I'd been driving, so it was heading, like, away from NYC, according to, like, what I thought. And I got on, like, I started driving, and then the railway became a bridge, and I was like, right, there shouldn't be any water here, should there? And then, like, the weather had gotten foggy, and just through the fog, I could just see the Empire State Building looming. Somehow we'd gotten turned around again. Geez. So I had to, like, U-turn and gun it. And by the time the hour passed, we were in between. Now, I thought this was really good. By the time the hour, like, when the hour alarm went off, I was in between Salt Lake City and Las Vegas. Because by that point, I was like, screw my plan to go along the northern border, just as the crow flies, because we're just trying to, like, save face at this point. As long as we get away from New York for as far away as we can, that's a bonus. That's all we're trying to do. And so I got in between. I got there at the hour mark. So I'm noticing that both of my ambitious stories resulted in failure. But I mean, hell, it was a challenge.
It's so fascinating, the idea of being lost in a game. I think it's like a really rare experience, right? Like, most games are really designed to, even open world games are designed to kind of funnel you in particular directions and give you, like, lots of, like, landmarks. And obviously you usually have the map, but that's so cool, just being like, I ended up back here again by mistake. And I don't know, I think it's a cool experience, especially in, like, a safe space where it doesn't really matter, Yeah, I love it. I want to just play a big open world game and just not have any idea where I'm going now.
Well, I always quite like it, like doing sort of wee things like that. Like, I played Skyrim once without using any fast traveling, and that was including getting on the cart to take me to like strongholds. If I was in one location, I could either like ride a horse or walk to another location, and that's all I did. Just because like there's almost a purity to the experience. It felt like quite, I don't know, every time you got to a place you had a new story to tell, because like, oh, like I went through this bandit camp and that happened, and that wouldn't have happened if I just fast traveled or whatever. So yeah, I do feel like there's a lot of fun to be had in sort of setting yourself wee goals like that.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like the Pokemon community, we mentioned that earlier. They've got a challenge for playing those games. It's called a Nuzlocke, and I've always wanted to do it, and I've never got around to it. But essentially, the idea behind it is, every time you go to a new route, you can catch one Pokemon and only one Pokemon, and that's not just like the one, like, when you're in that route the first time, then you could leave and come back and catch another. Like, you can have one Pokemon from Route 1, one from Route 2, yada yada. And with every Pokemon you catch, you have to give them a nickname. And then if they faint, you have to treat it as a death and you have to release them.
Oh my god.
So you could get all the way through the game. It's essentially hardcore mode for Pokemon. You could get all the way through the game, get to like
for Pokemon.
Yeah, get to the Elite Four, and then one of them could wipe your team out, and that's you. Like, I think the idea is you're meant to always have backups, because if you're going to every route and you're catching a Pokemon, then you should have more than 6. So if you lose all 6 Pokemon, you can then go back to the PC in the Pokemon Center and just swap out your team, and then that makes the game a hell of a lot longer, because the chances are you haven't touched them for like multiple hours, and you've got to go and level them up.
It's so intense.
Yeah, it's mad. Like, I've always really wanted to do it just to see how far I'd get, but knowing me, I'd get really unlucky against like my rival in the first battle and lose. Like, it would be one of those situations where it's like, your attack missed, and it just keeps going on until eventually I lose, and then I'm like, well, that's the challenge over.
That was my experience of Shield, actually. I've not finished Shield. I guess I'm pretty close, but everyone was talking about how easy it was. That was not my experience at all. Like, I actually thought it was really difficult, oddly. I played Red and Gold back then, but it's the first one I played in ages, and it's not like I've never played any RPGs, but I don't know why it was I was finding it so difficult. Like, I was like wiping out at gym after gym, and then like having to go respec my party to be like, okay, I need this kind of Pokemon for this gym. I don't know. I was maybe overthinking it. Yeah,
I tend to find that I try to get like a decent base team of just like, they cover a range of type advantages and stuff, and then just go with that. But I did find that like I always tried to, like, the first time I play a Pokemon game, I tried to play it using only that region's Pokemon, because I feel like that's the best way to like learn the new ones and stuff, and like, so you don't just play every game and be like, well, I've got a team of like Lapras, Pikachu, yada yada, and just like all Gen 1 Pokemon that you've been using for years. And I found that I didn't have an answer to fire types, because there wasn't very many water types I mean, there were water types. I just think that there wasn't any that I found appealing, and like, if I'm gonna spend time with my Pokemon, I want them to be ones that I'm like, I think he's cool or whatever. And I didn't find any water types that I liked, and my team was fairly balanced until I came up against a fire type. Then it was like, well, I'm just gonna send out my Centiskorch, who is also a fire type, and then we're just gonna cancel each other out, and just I'm gonna have to hope that I win.
Brute force it. Yeah. I don't know. They're interesting games and like subtly complex as well, I think.
Yeah, like there's people I don't really get into like the stats thing at all. I play the game, I played the game with a team that I enjoy, and that was it. Like it blew my mind when I found out that that Onyx is actually like terrible. I didn't know that at all.
Oh really?
Yeah, but apparently his attack and defense stats are like pretty poor, and that's why in like red, blue, and then later green and yellow, Brock's the first gym leader is because his ace is Onyx, and so it should be a bit easier for you because of his poor stats, which shook me. But yeah. We've spoken an awful lot about Pokemon this episode.
I actually was just thinking about how we can tie Pokemon into Scotland, because we totally can.
Yeah.
There's a very literal Pokemon Scottish connection, right? Do you know from Detective Pikachu? Do you know this?
No, I don't think I do.
The parts of Detective Pikachu are filmed in Scotland.
Really?
So yeah. So the scene where he brings Pikachu to like that stone to like bring him back to life, and then like Mewtwo like appears like in the kind of gorge bit. So that's called the Devil's Pulpit, like just outside Glasgow, and it's like such a cool place to go and visit. I definitely recommend it. You can't do it without getting wet, like to like go through it. You're like knee high in water, but it's just this really cool geographical place worth visiting. And the other bits in Scotland, when they're like driving about in that like dinky wee car. Such a cool car, by the way. I want one so much.
Is it a G-Wiz? It's like that wee electric car, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently it's discontinued now or something. Because I looked it up after the film. I'm like, I want this car. Yeah. But those are like filmed, like around. I want to say like around Glencoe, but like definitely kind of Highlandsy area. So not all of it is filmed in Scotland, obviously, but quite a lot of it is filmed in Scotland. So there we go.
Cool.
There's our Pokemon connection. It's all worth it.
Oh, there we go. That's why we've been speaking about Pokemon so much. We're just promoting Bonnie Scotland.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So I guess we've comprehensively covered the world of video games in Scotland this episode. I think that's everything you need to know. Is
definitely
our experiences with Pokemon and me messing up in Payday 2 and then messing up in The Crew. I mean, if you guys have seen our Let's Play stuff, I'm not very good at video games. Like, I never pretend to be. Just because it's kind of my job to play them doesn't mean to say I'm good at them.
Yeah, absolute same.
I guess we might as well start wrapping up. So, as per usual, every week we have a spotlight from within the world of games in Scotland, and this is why it's still the Scottish Games Network podcast. So this week I decided that we should highlight Zoe Sams, who is a tools programmer for Rockstar, based in Edinburgh now, I believe. But she also has her own Twitch channel, Jaffa Cake XD, Jaffa Cake all one word, and then space XD in capitals. And she was live streaming for Playaway yesterday at the time of recording, Wednesday for you guys. So yeah, like that's really cool. So, or was it Tuesday? I can't remember. I should have fact checked that, shouldn't I? Oh well, we've done it now.
I think Wednesday is right. Yeah.
So yeah, I thought, why not promote her channel? I've been following her on Twitch for a good wee while. She does some really cool stuff, and it's definitely worth checking out. So Andrew,
what kind of stuff?
So she's just finished completing The Room. Do you know the puzzle game? Yeah, so like she's just done that.
There's like a few of them, right? It's like a series.
Yeah, so I think the fourth one was the one that she's just finished. I think she's finished the series now, or at least she's caught up to where it's at. See, the problem was I wasn't able to stick around for every live stream. So like, if you go back and watch the VODs, then you'll see my name appear in the comments a couple of times. But I was only ever there for like a wee while. And because of that, like, the Room's got a weird story to it. And so every time I
Correct.
came in, I was like, I don't know what's going on. And, you know, Zoe would be saying like, oh, that makes sense because Mr. Owl told us this, and now that's going to affect that, and now the talking deer is going to... And I'm like, what? Like, I don't get what's going on. So, like, there was no point in, like, you know... I was like, I might as well go back and watch the VODs when I've got the time, and then I'll get what's going on. But yeah, I think 4 is at least the latest one, if not the last in the series. And I think the last thing Zoe did on her channel was actually Pokemon related. I think it was the 25th anniversary. I think she did a sort of like...
Of course, it's totally topical to be talking about Pokemon. We shouldn't be apologising. I forgot about it.
Yeah, that's it. So like we tied it back to Scotland. It was the 25th anniversary. We're just all good. Like we're just...
Yeah, my God.
I think this episode's going to be called the surprise Pokemon episode. I don't think I'm going to actually number it. Like it's just going to be that. But yeah, anyway, Zoe does a much better job of staying on topic and being like professional than we do, especially without the supervision of Brian. So please do check her out. Link to her Twitch channel and socials in the description. So Andrew, what have we got planned for the coming week?
So we've got the usual combination of new stuff from around the UK and the Scottish industry. So we've got a few pieces on that. And then also, you'll have noticed this week that a company profile went up on Conglomerate Games, they're working on a game about breathing. Very interesting reading about the kind of technology and stuff involved in that. We'll have more of those company profiles going up on several people around the Scottish industry. So please look out for more of that stuff. What about you, Ryan? What's going on in your corner?
So, as per usual, you'll have the podcast going up. We should try to get chatting back now that I don't need to be attending Playaway talks. By the way, if you're watching this the day it goes live, Playaway is finishing today, like tonight. Go check out the last couple of events. And next week, when Brian's back, we'll probably do a big overview of everything we went and we saw, and just... we'll point you in the direction of all of our favourite stuff. Yeah, so since that's done, I'm probably going to write an episode of chatting. That'll go up on Monday. I've got an art listicle in the works. It's ready to go. And I've also got a game announcement. So that should also be out by the time you listen to this, fingers crossed, maybe. Depends on how the back end stuff goes. But yes, that's everything to expect from SGN. As always, thank you ever so much for watching. We've been your hosts. I've been Ryan.
Yeah, I've been Andrew.
And Brian hasn't been with us this week, you may have noticed. Thank you ever so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.